Some books are heard once, others become doors you can return to when you are ready. We are turning the journeys you loved into premium editions you can study, highlight, and keep. Each volume preserves the core experience, now designed for quiet reading on any device. Listeners have been asking for these words in book form, and the library is growing around that request. Every edition is available in PDF, EPUB, or both, with instant access through the Path of Knowledge library. If one of these books has been waiting for you, the library is open in the description. Path of Knowledge. Introduction. How to enter the 0 point within. The mind can solve problems, build systems, imagine futures, and protect a life. But the same instrument can become a room with no door when every experience is immediately named, judged, compared, and turned into a story. Beyond the mind does not mean destroying thought or entering a supernatural dimension. It means discovering the still point from which thought can be observed instead of automatically obeyed. In this episode, the 0 point is used as a contemplative metaphor for minimum mental interference, not as a promise to manipulate quantum physics. The goal is direct and practical, to find the interval in which reaction becomes choice. Introduction. The Golden Cage. If you are listening to this, it is because you have reached a limit. You have used your mind to try to solve your life. You have analyzed, planned, calculated, and worried. You have read books, learned techniques, and tried to think positive. And yet you still feel that subtle emptiness. You still feel that life is a struggle. You feel it is a problem to be solved rather than a mystery to be lived. The reason is simple yet devastating for the ego. You cannot solve the problem with the same tool that created it. Your analytical mind, that incessant voice in your head, is a wonderful tool for survival. It serves to calculate taxes and build complex bridges. It helps you remember where you left your keys. But the mind is not designed to make you happy. It is not designed to create miracles. And it is definitely not designed to comprehend the infinite. The mind is a golden cage. It is a closed circuit that recycles information from the past. You are trying to create using the bricks of the old. When you try to manifest your dreams from the mind, you are trying to create what is new using bricks of the old. This audiobook is called Beyond the Mind, because that is where your true power resides. There is an intelligence in you that does not think but knows. There is a part of you that does not analyze time. It is a part of you that is eternal. There is a place where you do not need to attract anything, because you are already connected to everything. In the coming hours, we are going to undertake the longest and most difficult journey a human being can make. The 12-inch journey from your head down to your very heart. We must go there. We are going to learn how to turn off the noise to turn on the signal. We are going to stop trying to understand the universe to start being the universe. Get ready to let go of the only thing you believe keeps you safe. Your need to understand everything. Get ready for the architecture of origin and the power. Chapter 1. The Guardian of the Threshold, the Ego and the Illusion of Control. Before we can talk about galaxies, miracles, synchronicity, or the invisible architecture of reality, we must stop at the closed door. There is an invisible barrier that separates your current life, the life of struggle, effort, and repetition from the life you sense is possible. The life of flow, expansion, and magic. That barrier is not made of external circumstances. It is not the economy. It is not your family. It is not your past. The barrier is an internal mechanism, a sophisticated and ancient defense system. We call it the Guardian of the Threshold. In modern psychology, it is known as the ego. But I want to ask you to, for a moment, forget everything you think you know about that word. Forget the idea that the ego is simply vanity, pride, or arrogance. Those are just its most superficial disguises. The ego, at its deepest and metaphysical root, is something much more complex. It is the mental structure that sustains the illusion that you are separate from the all. The Guardian has only one mission: your physical and psychological survival. And to survive in a world it perceives as hostile and chaotic, the Guardian has developed an unshakable addiction. Crossing the threshold toward beyond the mind requires you to do the one thing your Guardian strictly forbids: letting go of the helm. In this chapter, we are going to dissect the Guardian. We will understand its fear and we will learn to walk beyond it, not by fighting, but by understanding that its authority is an illusion, the anatomy of separation. To understand why your mind resists change so much, we must look at the origin. Imagine the ocean of infinite consciousness, a unified field of energy where everything is connected to everything else. In that state, there is no you or me. There is no here or there. But to have a human experience, a small drop of that ocean had to separate or believe it separated to inhabit a physical body. The moment you were born and developed self-awareness, the great fracture occurred. You began to define yourself by what you are not. I am this body, and I am not that table. I am Juan, and I am not Maria. To navigate this three-dimensional reality, your mind created an avatar, a character, a psychological construction, the ego. It only sees objects. The Guardian lives in Newton's world, a world of solid billiard balls colliding with each other, a world where to win someone has to lose, a world where resources are limited and death is the absolute end. If it doesn't know what will happen tomorrow, it panics. That is why it plans obsessively. That is why it worries. Worry is nothing more than the mind trying to control the future by anticipating disasters. The ego firmly believes in the following false premise. It means trusting that the river is smarter than you. It means turning around, lifting your feet, and letting the current carry you flow. But for the Guardian, this is unacceptable. For the ego, surrender is death. That is why every time you try to meditate, let go or trust, your mind attacks you. But you want to step out of the box. You want a quantum leap, and quantum leaps are by definition illogical. They do not follow a linear progression. The Guardian of the threshold will always stop you with a trick question. How are you going to get that money? The ego cannot survive in the present. If you pay full attention to the moment now, if you are absolutely present in this second, you will realize one thing. In the absolute now, there is no story. There is no I. There is only pure experience. If I take away your name, do you still exist? If I take away your profession, your family history, your memories of the past, do you still exist? There is a presence that remains when you take away all the labels. That presence is the observer. The ego is the mask. You will become a vegetable. When you transcend the ego, you don't lose your ability to act. You lose your ability to suffer. Your action becomes more powerful because it is no longer born from the fear of lack, but from the joy of expression. You stop acting to get and start acting to give. Only in the unknown, the quantum field, can miracles happen. You must be willing to let go of the shore of the known to discover new continents. The Guardian will tell you, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. The Spirit tells you jump and wings will grow as you fall, deactivating the Guardian non-resistance. So how do we cross? Do we fight the ego? Not surrendering in the sense of defeat, I give up. But in the spiritual sense of yielding, I stop resisting. You accept the present moment as it is without judging it. The ego feeds on judgment. When you stop labeling the moment, when you say yes to what is happening now, you cut off the ego's energy supply. When the mind goes silent, God speaks. When control ceases, the miracle begins. Chapter 2. Frequency versus logic. The language the mind does not speak. You now find yourself in a new territory, a vast silence. But here arises the first operational problem of awakening. You try to communicate with this new world. You try to ask for what you desire, and it seems that no one is listening. You scream into the void, I want abundance. I want love and I deserve health. And the void returns silence. Or even worse, it returns more of the same. Scarcity, loneliness, and illness. Your logical mind is indignant. It takes out its list of merits and says, I have been a good person, I have worked hard, I have made a vision board, why isn't it working? This is a scam. The fundamental error, the misunderstanding that has kept humanity in the dark for millennia, is an error of communication protocol. You are trying to tune into a divine reality using an obsolete human transmitter. You are speaking to the quantum field in the language of logic. But the quantum field is deaf to logic. It is deaf to your words. It is deaf to your pleas. It is deaf to your human sense of justice. The universe does not judge what you deserve. The universe reflects what you are. And what you are is not defined by your biography or your conscious thoughts. It is defined by your electromagnetic signature. The universe only speaks one language, frequency. In this chapter, we are going to learn the grammar of energy. We will discover why good people suffer and bad people sometimes succeed, and why it has nothing to do with morality but with physics. We will stop negotiating with God and start resonating with Him. But your underlying vibration, the real signal you are emitting from your gut, is "I do not have money." The word want implies by definition lack. You only want what you do not have. Therefore, the phrase "I want money" carries a hidden frequency load of scarcity. The field receives the signal scarcity, and obeying the law of resonance sends you circumstances that match that frequency. Unexpected bills, losses, debts. You are emitting an incoherent signal. It is static noise. The universe does not respond to noise, it responds to coherence, the blind justice of physics. If a saint jumps from a 10th floor, he kills himself just like a murderer. Gravity is a law, not a judge. The law of resonance attraction works the same way. That bad man on the yacht may be morally reprehensible, but he has something the universe respects: certainty. He has no doubts about his right to have money. Start being resonant with the reality you wish to experience. The radio dial conscious tuning. Let's imagine you are an old radio. The air around you is full of invisible waves. Right now, in the space you occupy, the signals of classical music, rock, war news, and silence are all passing through. Your job is not to manufacture the money or manufacture the health. Your only job is to move the dial. You have to change your internal frequency until it matches the frequency of that reality. When there is a vibratory match, the phenomenon of entanglement occurs. Suddenly you begin to hear manifest that reality in your physical life. It listens to what you feel, not what you think. This is where logic fails miserably. Logic tells you, "I cannot feel joy if I have no reasons to be joyful." It waits for the world to change before changing the emotion. The metaphysical master does the opposite. There are no edges. In high vibration, spirit commands matter. Reality becomes fluid, malleable. Things happen fast and without effort. Synchronicity. The goal of going beyond the mind is to move from the state of ice, ego logic, to the state of steam, spirit frequency. Because need is a vibration of absence. It is a radio signal that screams, "I do not have it." If you need love desperately, you are vibrating, "I am not loved." You will attract rejection or partners who confirm that you are not worthy of love. If you need money urgently, you are vibrating, "I am in danger or poverty." You will attract unforeseen expenses. It is like trying to grab water with a closed fist. The more you squeeze need, the more it escapes. The signal does not come out clear. Doubt, excessive analysis, the how will it be, the when will it arrive are noise interference. To emit a pure frequency, you need to calm the mind. You need spaces of no mind. This is why meditation is so powerful. The logical mind will tell you, "I have to watch the news to be informed." The spirit will tell you, "Does that information raise or lower my signal?" Be ruthless with your energy. Protect your vibratory state as if it were the greatest treasure in the world. It is the currency with which you buy your reality. If something or someone lowers your frequency, they are stealing your power of creation. Learn to say no. That is the wake of my old frequency. I am emitting a new signal now. Chapter 3. The space between thoughts accessing the zero-point field. We have talked about silencing the guardian and tuning the frequency, but tuning it where? Where do you go when you close your eyes and manage for a miraculous instant to make the world disappear? Most people believe that when they stop thinking, they enter nothingness. They believe that mental silence is a sterile vacuum, a boring darkness where nothing happens. That is why people flee from silence. That is why they fill every free second with the phone, with music, with noise. They are terrified of meeting nothingness. But this chapter will reveal to you the best-kept secret of all mystery schools and advanced quantum physics. Nothingness is not empty. Nothingness is the origin of everything. There is a dimension that is not physical, that is not temporal, and that is not mental. A place that resides literally in the microscopic spaces between your atoms and in the silent spaces between your thoughts. Physicists call it the zero-point field. Mystics call it the Akasha, The Tao, or pure consciousness. It is the matrix from which reality arises. It is the white screen before the movie is projected. To go beyond the mind, you must learn to enter this space. You must learn to slip through the crack that exists between one thought and the next. In this chapter, we're going to explore the architecture of the void. We are going to learn to dissolve. We are going to discover that only when you become no one can you access the power to create anything. The illusion of solidity. To understand the field, we must first destroy the illusion of solid matter. Look at your hand. But if we looked at your hand through an atomic power microscope, the solidity would disappear. You would see atoms, and if we looked inside the atom, we would see a nucleus and electrons orbiting at an immense distance. If the nucleus were a basketball in the center of London, the electrons would be pinheads on the outskirts of the city. What is in between? You are that field temporarily disguised as matter. When you live from the mind, you live trapped in the zero. 0.01% the particle. When you go beyond the mind, you access the 99% the wave. Where do you prefer to look for your solutions? In the small limited particle, or in the infinite ocean of energy, mental traffic and the gap? It does not let new light in. But from time to time something happens. There is a moment of awe before a sunset, a moment of orgasm, a moment of sneezing, a moment of deep shock. In those instants, the traffic stops. A small gap opens between two thoughts. The ego is its problems. If you take away the ego's problems and its past, what remains for the ego? That is why, when you try to meditate and enter the silence, the ego panics. It feels that it is dissolving into nothingness, and it screams, "Think of something, anything." Remember what your boss told you, but do not stay in silence. Imagine you want to plant a new and beautiful garden, but your current land, your conscious mind is full of old asphalt, ruined buildings and weeds, your old beliefs and recurring thoughts. If you throw new seeds, positive affirmations onto the asphalt and trash, nothing will grow. The conscious mind is too full. It is saturated with old information. In the field, disease is only a configuration of energy. By letting go of the observation of the disease and entering pure possibility, the body reorganizes itself. The miracle is not a violation of physical laws. It is the activation of higher physical laws that only operate outside the influence of the ego. How to enter the technique of divergent attention. You are entering the field. That sensation of dark and velvety immensity is the womb of creation. Ask for nothing yet. Just enjoy the freedom of being no one. Enjoy the rest of not having to hold up your mask. In the void, you and your desire are the same energy. When you experience that union in meditation, when you feel that you already have what you wanted because you are the energy of what you wanted, the work is done. You have planted the footprint in the fabric of reality. When you open your eyes and return to the 3D world, you will see that the world begins to reorganize itself to bring you the desire. You do not go to the desire. Look for the space of clean water between two logs. Notice the silence at the end of an exhalation before the next inhalation. Notice the silence beneath the street noises. Fall in love with that silence. It is a living silence, an electric silence. You go to the space, download the intuitive solution and act. Living beyond the mind does not mean living disconnected from the world floating on a cloud. It means living in the world but connected to the source of the world. It means being a channel through which the zero-point field pours into physical reality. You become a conscious creator. The more you erase yourself, the more you appear. The more you disappear as a character, the more you shine as a presence. Chapter 4. Beyond Time. Breaking linearity. Be the eternal. Now there is one last prison from which we must escape before we can be totally free. It is a prison without bars but more solid than steel. A prison you carry on your wrist and on the screen of your phone. We are talking about time. The human mind is obsessed with linearity. It believes that life is a straight line going from point A, birth, to point B, death, passing through a series of causal events. It believes that the past is something that already happened and is unchangeable. It believes that the future is something that does not yet exist and is far away over there. And it believes that the present is just an insignificant and fleeting bridge between what was and what will be. This linear vision of time is the fundamental cause of anxiety and impossibility. If you believe that your desire is in the future, you automatically place it out of your reach. You create a distance, and where there is distance, there is waiting, and where there is waiting, there is suffering. But what if I told you that time as you know it is a neurological lie? Physicists from Einstein to modern string theorists tell us that time does not flow. Time is a dimension like space. The mountains past, the valley where you are present, and the river in the distant future all exist simultaneously in the landscape. The fact that you are in the valley does not mean the mountain has ceased to exist, nor that the river does not exist yet. Only your focus of attention moves. Going beyond the mind implies stepping out of the illusion of the clock and entering the reality of the eternal. In this chapter, we are going to break the clock. We are going to learn to travel in time without moving from where we are. We are going to discover that patience is not the capacity to wait, but the capacity to understand that there is nothing to wait for. The sickness of later. The egoic mind has a chronic disease, vertical time versus horizontal time. The ancient Greeks had two words for time. It is the time of the clock, seconds, minutes, hours. It is the time of the mind. It is linear, devouring, and finite. Access to the quantum field, to magic, and to manifestation is only found on the vertical axis. The zero-point field does not exist yesterday or tomorrow. It only exists always. If you want to connect with the source to recharge your energy or download a million-dollar idea, you have to step out of horizontality, future, past worry, and dive into the verticality of the present. That is where the power is. And memory is plastic. Every time you remember a traumatic event from the past and feel the same emotion of pain, you are recreating that past. You are solidifying the statue. You are bringing the trauma into the present and allowing it to define your future. But if from the power of the now vertical, you change your perception of the past, you change the past. I have been visualizing for a month and nothing is happening. The problem here is the belief in distance. You believe your desire is an object that is far away and has to travel toward you, and because the physical world is dense, the journey is slow. But in Chapter 3, we saw that in the quantum field, there is no space. Anxiety is a lack of trust in life. It is a form of egoic arrogance that says, I have to solve everything because the universe is incompetent or evil. In spiritual terms, anxiety is a form of practical atheism. You can say you believe in God or the universe, but if you live anxiously, you are acting as if you were alone and helpless. If you really believed there was a benevolent intelligence sustaining you, why would you be anxious? The memory of the future. Here we enter an advanced technique of quantum metaphysics. If time is not linear and everything happens at once in the eternal now, then your future has already happened. Your successful, healthy, and happy self exists right now in a layer of reality, just as real as your current self. If it already exists, you can remember it. For the brain, what is in memory is real. If you remember the future, your body will prepare biologically for it, and the quantum field will have no choice but to update your physical reality to match your memory. Active versus passive patience. In talking about transcending time, we must redefine patience. I have launched my intention. The order, the universe, the chef is preparing it. While it arrives, I'm going to enjoy this present moment. This patience does not suffer. It enjoys, it understands that gestation time is necessary. Do one thing at a time. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you speak, listen. Multitasking is an invention of the ego to escape the present. They play big because they know they have nothing to lose. They know they are infinite. Chapter 5. The Law of Resonance. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. You have been told that if you cut out photos of a Ferrari and paste them onto a poster board, the Ferrari will appear in your garage. And when that doesn't happen, you blame yourself. You think you didn't desire it enough, but the problem is not your desire. The problem is the verb. The word attract is misleading. It suggests that you are here, the object is there, and you have to exert magnetic force to pull it toward you. It suggests distance and effort. It suggests that you are a hunter and your dream is the prey. In advanced metaphysics beyond the mind, we do not use the word attraction. We use a much more precise scientific and honest word, resonance. The law of resonance establishes a brutal and absolute truth. You never attract what you want. you attract inexorably what you are. The universe does not respond to your mental whims or your wish lists. The universe responds to your identity signature. If you want love mentally, but you are fear of loneliness viscerally, reality will bring you more loneliness because that is your signature. You cannot deceive the cosmic mirror. The mirror does not reflect what you would like to be. It reflects what is standing in front of it. In this chapter, we are going to stop trying to manipulate the outside world. We are going to stop pursuing. We are going to learn to become the very thing we seek so that reality has no other physical choice but to match us. The cosmic tuning fork. To understand resonance, let's forget magic and look at acoustics. Imagine a room full of tuning forks, those U-shaped metal instruments musicians use for tuning. There are tuning forks tuned to the note C, to D, to A, etc. If you take a tuning fork tuned to A and strike it, it will begin to vibrate and emit sound. Now observe what happens in the room. All the other tuning forks tuned to A will begin to vibrate spontaneously without anyone touching them. This explains why you can work very hard, physical action, be very intelligent, logical mind, and yet still be stuck in the same patterns. If you do not change your internal tuning, you will continue to make the same strings of the universe vibrate over and over again. Going beyond the mind is to stop trying to change the external tuning forks, the people, the world, and focus obsessively on tuning your own instrument. The deception of wanting. Let's analyze the vibration of the word want. You have to vibrate in I have before having. This seems impossible for the logical mind. How am I going to feel rich if I don't have a cent? But it is the only door. You must use your imagination and your future memory. You have to change your personality. You have to kill the old you. You have to stop telling your old story. Stop telling your friends how badly things are going for you. Stop remembering your traumas. My children do not listen to me. My friends ignore me. The metaphysical truth is hard. No one can treat you in a way that you are not treating yourself first in your subconscious. The other is only a supporting actor who has accepted the script that you wrote. Either you are strong enough to entrain your environment, be the energetic leader, or your environment will entrain you, decoherence. Most of the time, the environment wins because it is massive and constant. To protect your new resonance while it strengthens, it is sometimes necessary to practice strategic isolation. Stay away from sources of discordant noise. Stop seeing people who lower your energy. In this state, synchronicity is triggered. You think of someone and they call you. You need something and you find it. Because you have eliminated the resistance from your field. You have become superconductive. Tell the universe, look at this empty space I have created. I am ready. Nature abhors a vacuum. The universe will rush to fill that hole. And if you keep your frequency high, it will fill it with things that match that height. The act of letting go is an act of faith. Perhaps the emotion is freedom or power or security. Forget the car for a moment. How can you feel freedom right now? By walking in the park, by taking a deep breath. Change your reaction to life. If something bad happens, do not react with your usual pattern, anger, fear. That is striking the old note again. Stop, breathe, and choose a new response. By doing that, you break the karmic cycle. Yes, sometimes I feel envy, and I completely accept myself this way. When you illuminate the shadow with the light of consciousness and acceptance, it stops vibrating at a low frequency. The energy you spent hiding your demons is now free to create your angels. A person of integrity who integrates light and shadow has a much more powerful resonance than a person who pretends to be a saint. Authenticity is the most magnetic frequency that exists. Chapter 6. Silence and the Nervous System. The technology of the spirit direct information downloads. This is where most spiritual seekers stumble. They fall back into the trap of the logical mind. They make lists of pros and cons. They ask 10 different people for advice. They are paralyzed by analysis. They try to navigate the infinite ocean of life using an old wrinkled roadmap that only shows the territory they already know. But to go beyond the mind, you need a navigation system that does not depend on memory or the past. You need a system that can read the terrain in real time, even if there is fog. You need a GPS connected directly to the satellite of universal intelligence. That system is already installed in your biological hardware. We call it intuition. Unfortunately, our rationalist culture has degraded intuition to the category of a hunch, superstition, or a women's thing. We have been taught that the smart thing is to think, and that feeling is for the weak. This is the greatest intellectual fraud in history. Intuition is not an inferior emotion, it is a superior technology. It is the ability to download complete and complex information packets directly from the quantum field, skipping the slow process of linear reasoning. While logic climbs the stairs step by step, A plus B chucks C, intuition takes the elevator straight to the penthouse. In this chapter, we are going to reactivate this technology. We will learn to differentiate the voice of the spirit from the voice of fear, and we will discover that true intelligence does not think, it knows. The bandwidth dial-up versus fiber optics. Let's compare your two operating systems. Your logical mind, intellect, is a local computer. It runs on the data stored on its hard drive, your memory, your education, your past experiences. If you face a new situation that isn't in your database, the logical mind freezes or tries to force an old solution onto a new problem. Its processing speed is comparatively like a 90s internet connection dial-up. It is slow, sequential, and noisy. Einstein, Tesla, Mozart, all the great geniuses of humanity operated this way. They didn't think up their theories or symphonies. They received them, and then they used logic only to translate them onto paper. Going beyond the mind is changing your default operating system. It is stopping the use of the limited hard drive and starting to work from the cloud. When you have a knot in your stomach or a gut feeling, it is this brain processing information of danger or truth at a primary level. Intuition is a full-body phenomenon. Often the signal reaches the body first. You feel an expansion in your chest, yes, or a contraction in your stomach, no. You feel a chill of truth, goosebumps, or a heaviness of lies. It simply presents the information. It is a quiet, dry, and direct voice that says, go left or do not sign that contract or call this person now. It doesn't give you reasons. It doesn't tell you go left because there is traffic on the right. It only says go left. It is a knowing without thinking. It is that first flash. Immediately after second 3, the logical mind enters. It begins to doubt, rationalize, justify, and edit. Well, maybe it's not quite like that. But what will my mother think? It is expansive in its drama. Intuition feels sober, cool, grounded. It is often felt in the lower stomach or as a clarity in the forehead. It doesn't tell stories. Fear is in a hurry. Since the field is holographic and everything is connected, the universe uses the environment to send you messages. This is what we call signs. You are hesitating about whether to move to another city. Suddenly, you see a license plate with the initials of that city. Then a song on the radio mentions the city. Here we reach the social barrier. Following your intuition will often make you look illogical, irresponsible, or crazy in the eyes of others, and in the eyes of your own ego. Your intuition might tell you, sell the house now. The logic of the market and your friends will say, it's the worst time to sell. If you follow intuition, everyone will criticize you. 6 months later, the real estate market brutally collapses, and you were saved because you sold earlier. Intuition takes you to genius, the practice, the intuitive muscle. Intuition is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies. If you use it, it strengthens. Most of us have atrophied muscles because we have spent decades delegating our decisions to logic or to external authorities, parents, teachers, bosses, experts. You are teaching your ego that it is safe to trust the invisible. Little by little, as you accumulate successes in small things, you will have the confidence to use intuition in life or death decisions. A day will come when the guidance is so clear that disobeying it will be impossible. A day will come when you will live in a constant flow of downloaded instructions. You will no longer plan your life. The logical mind takes you through the path of stones, trial and error. Intuition takes you through the path of water flow. Chapter 7. Deprogramming the Past. Imagine you have just bought the most advanced software in the world, a program capable of designing skyscrapers, composing symphonies, and predicting the stock market. You get home, turn on your old computer, and try to install it. But the screen freezes. Error messages appear. The entire system crashes immediately. Is the problem the new software? No, it is perfect. The problem is that your hard drive is full of viruses, corrupt files from 20 years ago, and an obsolete operating system that is not compatible with new technology. You cannot install abundance. 5. 0 over scarcity. 1. 0. The system will collapse. First, you have to format the disk. We have learned to listen to intuition, the new software. But many of you will feel an immense frustration. I hear the voice telling me to fly, but I have chains on my feet that won't let me take off. Those chains are your programming. They are the automatic algorithms running in the background, dictating 95% of your daily reactions. This programming does not live only in your mind as abstract ideas. It lives in your neural networks, in the chemistry of your blood, and in the very structure of your DNA. The past is not a memory. It is a physical structure in your body. To go beyond the mind thinking differently is not enough. You have to dismantle the old you. In this chapter, we are going to enter the engine room with a blowtorch. We are going to learn the science of quantum deprogramming. We are going to erase the code of suffering so that the code of the miracle can run freely. We will format the hardware. The ghost in the machine. What is a paradigm? Your life is controlled by what you believe. Your life is not controlled by what you know, but by what you believe without knowing that you believe it. We call this set of subconscious beliefs a paradigm. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And remember, habit is destiny. If your paradigm says life is hard, you will struggle. If your paradigm says life is hard, and you have to fight to earn money, it does not matter how much you visualize or pray. Your nervous system will filter reality to show you only difficulties. Your reticular system rained opportunities because they violate your source code. You cannot see what you do not believe. The great error of traditional therapy and much self-help is trying to change the paradigm by talking to it. We spend years with the psychologist analyzing why we are insecure. It's because my father yelled at me. The biology of emotional addiction. Here we enter the hard science of change. Why is it so difficult to change even when you want to change? Because your body is addicted to the old you. It is a drug. It is the sign that the body is detoxifying. It is the healing fever. The old self is fighting for its life. To erase the code, you must have the will to cross that biological river of change without yielding to the demands of your body. You must be the captain who ignores the crew's mutiny, because he knows they are heading toward the promised land, the observer as a universal eraser. Sit with the emotion, feel the anxiety in your stomach, feel the fire of anger, but do not give it a name, do not give it a story. Thank you, but I erase it. Quantum deprogramming works in non-linear time. When you heal a pattern in yourself, for example, the belief that love hurts, you do not only free yourself due to quantum entanglement, you send a signal of liberation backward in time to your ancestors. The war is over and forward to your children. You are the genetic engineer of your entire clan. In the deep meditative state, 0-point field, you can visualize your DNA and command it to rewrite itself. Feel the relief in your body. The space is now clean. The space that the problem occupied is now empty and clean. You have not solved the problem. You have dissolved the structure that sustained it. The memory stops hurting. It becomes a neutral piece of data. That is when you know the code has been erased, when you can look back and not feel the sting, the fertile void installing the new system. Once you have erased the old code, you remain in a strange state. Now you can install the Divinity 2.0 operating system, the coherence of internal language. To keep the system clean, you must install an antivirus. Your internal dialogue is the code being written in real time. Every time you say, "I can't, it's hard," it is the forced restart of the system. The universe is demolishing everything you are not, so that only what you are remains. If you are going through this, do not be afraid. You are not being punished. You are being purified. This simple act has a profound impact on the psyche. It marks a before and after. It breaks the linearity of time. It tells yourselves the old contract has been cancelled. The freedom of the no self. The universe is waiting for your next command. Chapter 8. The Intelligence of the Heart. For centuries, humanity has worshipped the intellect. We have built temples to reason, schools for logic, and societies based on analytical thought. We have blindly believed that the cranial brain, that grey mass inside your head, is the undisputed king. The CEO of your life, the only place where consciousness resides. The brain is not the king. It is the official. It is a fantastic data processor, yes, but it is not the source of authority. The true throne of consciousness, the command center from which the laws of your reality are dictated, has been beating in your chest since before you even had a brain. We are talking about the heart. But I am not referring to the heart of Valentine's cards. I am not talking about the heart as a poetic metaphor for disordered and romantic emotions. I am talking about the heart as an organ of higher intelligence. Modern neurocardiology has made a discovery that has shaken the foundations of biology. The heart has its own brain, literally. Inside your heart, there exists a complex intrinsic nervous system, a network of approximately 40 0 sensory neurons that think, decide, feel, remember, and process information independently of the head. Your heart is not a simple mechanical pump that moves blood. It is much more. It is a biological oscillator, a magnetic amplifier, and an antenna for connection with the unified field. To go beyond the mind, you must undertake the longest and most difficult journey that exists, the 12-in descent from the head to the chest. You must abdicate the throne of logic and crown the true emperor. In this chapter, we are going to learn to think with the heart. We are going to discover heart coherence, the exact physical state in which the human being ceases to be a surviving animal and becomes a creator god. The physics of authority, electricity versus magnetism. To understand why the heart rules reality, let's go back to basic physics. Everything in the universe is electromagnetic. The electrical component is the information, the intention, the thought. It is the arrow. The magnetic component is the attraction, the charge, the emotion. It is the field that envelops. It is the magnet. But if your heart feels fear of poverty, massive magnetic signal, the heart always wins. The magnetic signal cancels the electrical signal. This is the scientific reason why mental visualization alone fails. It is like trying to move a boat by blowing with your mouth. You ignore that the ocean currents, heart emotion, are going in the opposite direction. In response, the brain partially shuts down. A cortical inhibition occurs. The frontal lobe, the intelligent and creative part, disconnects to save energy. You become stupider, more reactive, more animalistic. You cannot think clearly. You go from being a scattered light bulb to being a laser. Your energy waves synchronize. In a state of coherence, your transmission to the quantum field is clear, powerful, and penetrating. It is in this state, and only in this state, where manifestation occurs effortlessly. The little brain of the heart, an organ that remembers. You have to enter the heart space and use the energy of coherence, love, compassion to dissolve the energetic knots stored in the cardiac tissue. When you heal your heart, you don't just feel better emotionally. You literally change the signal you are emitting to the universe 24 hours a day. The heart wall, the ego's fortress. If the heart is so powerful, why is it so hard for us to access it? When nothing protects you, nothing limits you. The inner alchemy uniting the chakras. In the mystical and yogic tradition, the heart is the midpoint, the pointer of the scales. You have 3 lower energy centers: root, sacral, solar, plexus. These deal with survival, sex, power, and the body. An energy that has direction and power. That is the energy that collapses the wave function, which is the right one. We have talked about elevated emotions. But let's be specific. And to those who say yes to life, life says yes to their desires. The practice quick coherence technique. You don't need to go to a cave in Tibet to activate your heart. You can do it in the middle of a work meeting, on the bus, or before a difficult conversation. It is a physiological technology. Do not think it. Feel it. Let that sensation of warmth of an internal smile expand through your chest. Bathe in that emotion. Do this for 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, you have changed your biochemistry. But it goes further. Scientists are discovering that the human heart's magnetic field interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. When millions of people feel fear at once, the Earth's field is altered. When millions feel love and coherence, the Earth's field stabilizes. Your personal work of opening the heart is not just for your selfish benefit. When you live from the heart, the logical mind becomes what it was always meant to be, a humble servant. The mind plans the details, but the heart set the course. The mind analyzes the map, but the heart knows the destination. Chapter 9. The Paradox of Surrender. Gaining control by letting go of control. Your logical mind screams, "You are crazy. If I let go, I lose it. If I stop thinking about it, it won't happen. I have to stay in control. I have to watch it. I have to push it." This is where 99% of metaphysics students fail. They get stuck in the intention phase and never move to the surrender phase. They live in a state of spiritual tension, trying to manifest their dreams through energetic strangulation. But universal law is an inescapable paradox. You cannot receive what you are not willing to let go of. As long as you keep your desire gripped by the neck with desperation, the universe cannot deliver it to you. There is no room for it to enter. In this chapter, we are going to resolve the paradox of surrender. We are going to discover that surrendering is not losing. It is the only way to win. We will learn that control is the illusion of the weak and that trust is the power of the masters. We must let go. Let the law of reversed effort. The philosopher Alan Watts and the writer Aldous Huxley spoke of the law of reversed effort. This law establishes that in the realm of the mind and spirit, the harder you try something with conscious will, the further you move away from the result. It is like quicksand. The more you struggle, the more you sink. It is like insomnia. The more you strive to sleep, I have to fall asleep. The more awake you are. It is like trying to remember a name. The more you strive to search for it, the more it hides. And at the moment you surrender and say, "It will come to me," the name magically appears on your tongue. Why does this happen? Because effort is a vibratory signal of resistance. It implies that you are fighting against an opposing force. When you strive to manifest money, you are vibratory screaming, "It is not here. I have to fight against reality." You are affirming the absence of the object. Surrender, on the contrary, is the absence of friction. It is the state of flow. When you surrender, you tell the universe, "I have already done my part. Now I trust you to do yours. I do not need to fight because I know it is already done." Surrender eliminates resistance, and when resistance is zero, conductivity is infinite. Energy flows without obstacles, and the desire materializes at the speed of light. The metaphor of the archer, tension and release. Imagine you are an Olympic archer. The manifestation process has two clear phases, and you cannot mix them. Phase 1, tension, intention, and focus. You take the bow, you set the arrow. You look at the target with absolute concentration. You use your strength to pull the string back. Here you use your mind, your visualization, your emotion. You accumulate potential energy. This is what we have learned in the previous chapters. It is the active, masculine, electrical part. I hand it over to you, universe. At that moment, potential energy becomes kinetic energy. The desire leaves your mental field. It enters the quantum field to materialize. If you do not let go, you do not send the order. You keep it for yourself. The quantum field can. The field can coordinate traffic, phone calls, chance encounters, and sudden ideas so that your desire reaches you. The desire reaches you in the easiest and most harmonious way. But for that to happen, you have to get out of the way. You have to say, "Universe, this is what I want." They ask for the risotto of wealth, and the next second they are distressed. "I don't see it. I'm sure it's not coming. I'm going to have to go and cook it myself. My happiness does not depend on it. My peace is non-negotiable." When you reach that point of preference without need, you become irresistible. The universe loves those who are free. If you are desperate for a partner, you smell of desperation. It is stopping having rigid plans. "I'm going to do this. But if the universe closes this door for me, I will not strike it. I will flow through the window. I will be like water." What do you do while you wait? Surrendering does not mean sitting on the couch eating potato chips, waiting for $1 million to fall from the ceiling. That is laziness, not surrender. Spiritual surrender is accompanied by inspired action. When you have let go of anxiety and control, you enter a state of clarity. You let go of obsessive planning. Suddenly there is space in your mind. As we saw in chapter 3, the void is the place where God creates. You get out of the way. You stop obstructing the channel with your fears and doubts. Let your body drop. Say out loud, "I let go of this. It is not my problem, universe. I pass it to you. Immediately do something you like. They trust that their parents take care of it. You have a cosmic father, mother. Let them do their job. You just play, create, love, live. Chapter 10. Living from the Unwritten Mind. When the universe winks at you, your logical mind, the guardian, gets nervous. It tries to explain it away quickly. Don't get your hopes up. The logical mind hates these events because they threaten its model of reality. Logic lives in a world of linear, separate and mechanical causes and effects. But you who have gone beyond the mind know the truth. There are no coincidences. There are no accidents. What you are experiencing is synchronicity. It is the universe winking at you. It is the physical confirmation that you have entered the flow. It is the proof that the barrier between your inner world mind and the outer world matter has dissolved. In this chapter, we are going to learn to read the secret language of God. We are going to discover that reality is not a cold and dead mechanism, but a living, intelligent and constant conversation with you. The principle of a causal connection. The term synchronicity was coined by the psychologist Carl Jung to describe the temporal coincidence of two or more events not causally related, but which have the same meaningful content. In classical physics, Newton, for A to affect B, they have to touch or push each other. In synchronicity, A, your thought, and B, the external event, do not physically touch. There is no invisible cable pulling the phone to make it ring. However, they occur at the same time and mean the same thing. Jung concluded, working with quantum physicist Wolfgang P., that mind and matter are not two separate things. They are two aspects of the same underlying reality, which they called the unus, one single world. We see two separate peaks of ice sticking out of the water. They look like two distinct objects, but if you look under the water, you see they are joined in a single giant mass of ice. Your thoughts peak 1, and the events of the world peak 2 seem separate on the surface of 3D reality. But in the depth of the quantum field under the water, they are the same thing. When you move peak 1 change your thought peak 2, the event moves automatically. Not because one pushes the other, but because they are the same. Synchronicity is the moment when the water level drops a bit and you can see the connection. It is the moment you see the matrix. When you experience a synchronicity, it is not just luck. It is a glitch in the illusion of separation. It is a glimpse into the fundamental unity of all things. The navigation system of the flow. Synchronicities are those reflectors. They appear to tell you are aligned, you are doing well. When you are in a state of incoherence, fear, ego, effort, synchronicities disappear. Life becomes mechanical, predictable and heavy. Everything is hard cause and effect. You have to push to get results. When you enter the flow, surrender, intuition, open heart, streaks of good luck begin to happen. You meet the key person in the elevator, the golden scarab, the dialogue with the divine. Jung's most famous story perfectly illustrates how the universe listens to our private conversations. Jung was treating a patient who was extremely rational, Cartesian and logical. Her mind was a closed fortress. Nothing irrational could enter. It occurs to break our intellectual arrogance. The universe organizes these cosmic theaters to tell you, hey little human, there are forces much greater than you at play. Every coincidence is a small miracle designed to increase your faith. And the more you are surprised and grateful, the more they occur. The universe is like a playful child. It is like when you are programming, and you see that the code is clean and orderly. Seeing 1111 is a sign of system coherence. It indicates that your thoughts and external reality are in phase. It is an open door moment. In that minute, the veil is thin. You are being heard. You are on the network. That is what matters. Apophenia or magic the reticular filter. The skeptic will say that is apophenia or confirmation bias. Both live in different universes created by their observation. The question is, in which universe do you prefer to live? The universe of chance is cold, lonely, and terrifying. The universe of synchronicity is warm, interactive, and fun. And pragmatically, the synchronic universe works better. Everything seems to conspire against you, and you are right. You are conspiring against yourself. Your powerful coherence in fear and frustration is organizing reality to confirm your belief that everything goes wrong. These bad coincidences are also synchronicities. Can we trigger synchronicity? Yes, we can play with the matrix. There is a classic manifestation exercise called the green car experiment, or yellow butterflies, or rubber ducks. It consists of telling the universe, in the next 48 hours, I want you to show me specific and unusual object as a sign that you hear me. Choose something you don't usually see. Your confidence in your power as a creator increases, and that increased confidence is what you will later use to manifest big things. Start playing with the small so your ego accepts the possibility of the large. We are all in the same dream. Synchronicity leads us to a profound metaphysical conclusion. The unwritten choice. The central lesson of Beyond the Mind is not that a single thought controls every event. It is that unconscious patterns become powerful when they remain unnamed. The moment a pattern can be observed, it can be questioned. The moment it can be questioned, a different response becomes possible. Bring the central idea back to ordinary life. Choose one situation in which you usually react automatically. Name the pattern without condemning yourself. Decide what a more conscious response would look like, and practice that response in one small action. A principle becomes useful only when it changes what you notice and what you do. Do not use these ideas to blame yourself for circumstances outside your control, to ignore material conditions, or to replace qualified care. Use them where your agency is real. The meaning you assign, the standards you keep, the language you repeat, the attention you train, and the next action you choose. The page is no longer blank because nothing has been written. It is blank because you have recovered the power to write consciously. The purpose of this journey is not to replace evidence, professional care, or practical action with belief. It is to make your inner participation visible so that attention, language, emotion, and behavior can become conscious instruments rather than invisible habits.